We're going to go from this to this. Hello there, how are you? Welcome back. Now the base of this tree, that root ball that is exposed, was over 6 feet tall. I'm 5'8" to give you some reference on the size of this tree. Now this is the last, I promise, the last tree cutting video. And then I will get back to uploading some of the other things that I've done in between the hurricane cleanup here on the property. That tree was probably, I would guess, about 18 to 20 inches wide. I was able to walk up it, the trunk of the tree, and delimb it. And then once I got out to this portion, which was probably about 6 foot up, well, it was about 6 foot off the ground. You'll see when I bring the chainsaw down off of there and start repositioning myself, that at that kind of fork in the tree, or the Y in the tree, it was just as tall, if not taller, than what I am. Now, I've never even attempted to cut up a tree of this magnitude. And from all the stories I've heard from different folks that have tried to do different trees, end up miscutting something and getting hurt. So there I was trying to position myself behind the one branch in case that branch I was cutting on happened to kick back. And my placement on all of these cuts is the same way, even using the tractors to support the branches to keep it from inadvertently being top heavy and flipping the cut up and having it cause an injury to me. So I am not a professional. For those of you that have done this for a living and are saying warning at the screen, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Like I said, I tried to use an abundance of caution as I was cutting these different branches, keeping another branch between myself and the branch that I was currently cutting on, just to provide a shield, limited though it may be, but at least it was a shield. And again, I cannot say enough good things about this grapple, being able to just come grab the brush piles, grab the cuttings off the tree and drive them down to the road. Oh my goodness, it just made this a pleasure to actually do. Not that you want to have to cut the stuff up, and I have other things that I could be doing, but it really just made it doable, if that makes any sense. The one conclusion I came to, this Bauer chainsaw is a game changer for doing a branch here, a branch there. Really a great tool, but in all reality, you really need a saw that has a little bit of oomph behind it. I think I could have cut the time frame on this project down by at least half if I had something that truly cut the minute that you put it on. There were several times you saw that the battery was going a little bit dead, and again, this is great for smaller branches, for, little tree limbing type things, but for this big of a project, you really do need to have, or it would really be beneficial to have a tree with a little bit of substance. And there's one of the springs. Oh my goodness. Again, I cannot say enough about using the tools that you have, to get the job done. But as you can see with this saw, if that had been an actual true gas-powered chainsaw, I believe it would have cut this time frame easily in half. Got the job done. At this point, as you can tell, I'm kind of getting a little stumbly. So my battery's running down, as well as the battery on the chainsaw. Now, I only have 2 of these larger batteries, and I've kind of limited myself on the tree cutting to those 2 batteries. I have some smaller, I think like 1.5 amp hour batteries, but I leave them like on my drill, sawzall, impact driver, that kind of thing. And then I'm using these larger batteries for the heavier tools like this chainsaw. And as you can see, this battery is just struggling. Now granted, I have it sped up, but it keeps bogging itself down, and you can just hear that it's struggling to get through this last branch. And this is the last branch of the day, so I'm kind of like of the mindset I'm just going to push it all the way to the end just so I can get all this stuff out to the road. Ah, success. Alrighty, time to take this load out to the road. I have no clue how many trips I've made out there. And then we will be finished for tonight, and I will finish this tree up tomorrow. And with the magic of editing, welcome back. Okay, today is the day we are going to use the ladder. As you'll notice, I strategically placed the grapple on the tractor so that if one of these branches were to kick out, the side of the grapple actually would keep the ladder from tipping over, theoretically, and keep me from falling and breaking a hip. It actually worked like a charm. I was very cautious. Now, if you'll notice, when I'm busy cutting, I'm checking, for lack of better terminology, the spring of the tree, because from what everybody has told me, when you have a tree down like this with that big of a root ball, the potential is for this tree to slingshot itself back upright. Now, I'm not sure. I've never seen that happen. You know what? That might be something good for me to kind of Google search or YouTube search. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. This is the last of the major down trees around the property. And between this little 10-inch Bauer chainsaw, it's a 20 bolt, and my tractor, it really has made pretty easy work of it. A lot of work, but shoot, having just that grapple on it has saved me so much aggravation trying to figure out how to get all these branches out to the road for the large branch and large debris pickup from our hurricane crews. Oops. It was pretty cool. The whole time I was out here, the pups were out here with me, and let me tell you what, being out in the sun and the fresh air, these guys slept like a rock. Now, I probably could have left this last branch over the driveway. There was enough clearance for my Jeep to get underneath it and my little Toyota pickup to get underneath it. However, caveat, This is the double gate entrance onto the property up at the northwest corner. And should anything with any height try to come through here, it would be blocked. With this double gate, this is where when I have dirt delivered, mulch delivered, anything like that, it comes through this gate simply because it is a double 12-foot gate. Also, on a side note, while I'm doing it, the tree removal itself and getting it all out to the road before the crews come through, it would have been silly for me to actually just stop at this point, especially with having a little bit of a flow. Have you ever done that? You were working on something, you had a good flow, and then you stopped working on that particular project, came back to it later, and then you had lost your whole flow. Yeah, well, that was part of the worry with me, and as you can see there, I'm double checking that springiness. Also checking the base of the ladder, because as you can see, I did not exactly use this ladder in an OSHA approved way. So just know that no old people were hurt in the filming of this video. Oh, shucks. Now with the final cuts on these branches being the larger diameter branches, I strategically placed the grapple to where it would catch the branch as I cut it rather than having that branch potentially fall and kick out the legs of the ladder. So see, I did use some common sense safety while I was removing the bigger portions of this tree. And as you can see, boom, just like butter, it went right inside there. Just really worked out well. The other thing, this video is sped up like 600, 800 times. So these movements that you're seeing me make from the ladder to the grapple and back to the ladder, they're very slow, very controlled. Otherwise, there would have been no way for me to get to that outer part of that branch. I would have had to come further back on the base of this tree. And honestly, I didn't feel that the battery operated chainsaw had the power necessary that it could have made a clean cut through such a long and heavy piece of wood. Even these little forefoots sections, you can see where this saw is kind of on the struggle bus. Like I said, this wood was just very heavy, very dense, and still very wet. And with that, this is actually my final cut. Alrighty then. I want to thank you all for stopping by. Have an absolutely wonderful and blessed week.